Hey guys, Teresa here. Welcome back to my channel, Lost My Thread. Today I'm going to be sharing my quickest, neatest method for making your new favorite scrunchie. I'm somebody who wears a scrunchie every single day, and so I like to have a variety of scrunchies in my wardrobe, but I've also made some that I've ended up not wearing. And so what I'm going to do today is share with you my 5 steps of making a neat and quick scrunchie using my favorite method, the burrito method. And then I'm also going to give some top tips at the end of how you can make a scrunchie that you hopefully will love for years to come. You can find brief instructions of how to do this down in the description box and chapters if you want to skip around. Step 1 is to cut out your fabric. Now, I have experimented with different lengths and widths of this rectangle to figure out my favorite, and for me, the one I love is a 4.5-inch wide by 30-inch long rectangle. Now, for the one that I'm cutting out in the video that you can see, I didn't have a full 30-inch strip, so I cut out 2 15.5-inch strips and then joined them together to create one longer rectangle. You can also do that with 2 longer, narrower strips. Just connect them along the long edge is absolutely fine. Remember that this scrunchie is going to gather up, so you're really not going to see those seams when it's finished. If you prefer a smaller scrunchie or a thicker, chunkier scrunchie, you can of course play around with the width. I'll show you some images of different width scrunchies so you can see the effect. So I've got a 3.5-inch scrunchie here, a 4-inch wide scrunchie here, 4.5-inch wide here, which are my favorites, and a couple of 5-inch wide rectangles. So this is the width that you're cutting out. The length, again, depending on how long it is, that's really just going to affect how much it's gathering up. So the longer it is, the more gathers you're going to get. So this is working from a variety of maybe 18-inch to 22-inch scrunchie. I've got a 27-inch getting a bit longer, 30-inch, and one that's even a 35-inch scrunchie. So you can work within quite a wide range depending on the pieces that you're working with, or like I said, depending on the effect that you're looking for. Step 2 is to join your short ends together to create a loop of fabric. You're going to fold your fabric together, right sides together, with the short ends lined up, and you're going to stitch along there. The length of the stitch, I would say as a guide, you want to use your sewing machine foot. So if you place the fabric so that your raw edge is against the right edge of your sewing machine foot, you're just going to stitch with that length from beginning to end, making sure to back stitch both at the beginning and the end. Now you can press this if you want to be really over the top and extra. Personally, I just finger press that open. I'm using a linen viscose fabric, so it's a little bit easier and does press quite well. But if you want to be super neat, by all means, go ahead and give it a proper press as well. Step 3 is to sew the long edges together using the burrito method. So the way that works is you're going to lay your loop of fabric out with right sides together just like you sewed it, with the seam facing up, and then you want to start rolling just the top layer of fabric from one raw edge to the other as tightly as you can. You then fold your other layer of fabric around that, making sure that the fabric you've rolled up is as far away from the raw edge as possible. So you're going to be sewing along this long raw edge, and you can see at either end it definitely has a bit of a burrito look at this point. So just like before, you want to place your fabric with the raw edge against the edge of your sewing machine foot as a guide of how wide the stitch should be. You want to make sure that the fabric is definitely to the left of your presser foot. So you can have a little feel with your fingers. You might even want to just open it up and double check. And if at any point you feel like it is creeping over, you can just stuff it back into the burrito. You want to make sure that you do a back stitch at the beginning, and you're just going to be sewing along the length that you've initially folded over. You might want to just periodically check with your fingers to make sure that nothing is creeping under the presser foot that you folded from before. You just want to be stitching these 2 layers of fabric together. Once you've gotten as far as you can go, you want to make sure that your needle is in the down position, and then you're going to be putting your finger inside the tube and start pulling fabric through towards you. And what that is doing is from the back, it's turning the back of the tube inside itself and then feeding it back around. It's a little bit hard to explain, but hopefully you can see what's going on visually. And then the bit that you've pulled through to the front, you want to, again, try and make that section that's on the inside as narrow as possible, as far over to the inside of your burrito as possible, and fold those edges over again and just keep stitching around. Once you come up to the point where you can see your previous stitch line, you'll notice that it's a lot harder to turn the burrito at this stage. You want to leave a gap of about 1.5 to 2 inches and then do a little back stitch at the end. And this is where the magic part of the burrito method happens. You're going to poke your fingers inside that little hole to grab some of the fabric that's on the inside and pull it out. And as you pull all of that through, you're going to be revealing the outside of a finished scrunchie. Step 4 is to insert your elastic. Now there are a wide range of elastics that you can use for a scrunchie. I'm not here to tell you which one is the best one. I'm definitely a firm believer in use the elastic that you have. I have used a variety. I often use a 1/4 inch elastic, a flat 1/4 inch elastic. I feel like that's quite tidy and it's easy to stitch together. I've also used 1/2 inch elastic when I didn't have that on hand. I've even used what I refer to as like mask elastic that I bought for the pandemic when I was making masks, but that was a little bit harder to stitch together because it's a bit more rounded rather than flat. But I would say anything from like 1/2 inch to a 1/4 inch elastic should be absolutely fine. It is a good idea to tie a knot at this stage, to try it onto your wrist, to try it into your hair, just to get an idea. It is going to be a little bit thicker and wider with all the gathered fabric, so I like to leave just a little bit of excess around the wrist as a guide, but I will also be trying it on later. You then need to thread this elastic through the scrunchie from the hole that you left. You can use a safety pin. Safety pins are fine, but they can sometimes open up as you're trying to put them through the tube. So I prefer to use a tool called a bodkin. I got this for free once when I ordered some elastic online. It is fantastic. It's like a little tweezers with a gripper end, and when you tweeze it onto the end of your elastic, there's a slider that you can push down, which means it's going to stay nice and gripped and it's not going to come undone. So I tend to use that for my elastic, but use what you've got. I also think it's a great idea to secure the other end of your elastic with a safety pin because you are pulling it pretty tight compared to the fabric and you don't want that to pull through. Once you have threaded your elastic through, this is the best time to tie a temporary knot in there and try the scrunchie on. See how it feels on your wrist, see how it feels in your hair. There is nothing worse than having a wrong length of elastic in a scrunchie. You will not want to wear it. I say this because it's happened to me before. So make sure that it's the right length, and then you need to secure the elastic. You can, by all means, just tie that knot really nice and tight and leave it like that, but there is going to be a little bit of a bump that you might feel when you're using the scrunchie. It will not be visible, but it might bug you. Another way to secure your elastic is to lay one piece of elastic end over the other one overlapping and then do a zigzag stitch over both of them. But my preferred method is to take a scrap of woven fabric. Ideally, you want to have something with a tight weave that's not going to fray. Quilting cotton is great for this. You need a very small strip. You start by securing one end of the elastic to the scrap of fabric by putting it under your sewing machine foot about 1 inch from the end of the elastic, and you want to do a narrow zigzag stitch down to nearly the end, but maybe a stitch or two from the end. Keep the needle down, presser foot goes up, and then you're going to take the other end of the elastic and butt it right up against the first piece of elastic. So that way everything is looking like a nice narrow straight line. When you put your presser foot down, you can make sure that everything is lining up. Both ends of the elastic are lining up and it's right up against the first section, and then stitch another inch down from there. You then just need to trim down your threads, but also the excess woven fabric. You don't want to have any extra bulk in there. We're trying to reduce that. So you just need to make sure when you're cutting that fabric away that you're not catching any of the elastic. Double check before you do any cutting, and then it creates a really nice, neat line. Step 5 is to sew your scrunchie closed. Now, by all means, you can use a sewing machine to just press that open end together and do a stitch along the top, but that will be very visible. I prefer to do a hand stitch closure. I know a lot of people don't love hand sewing, but it's such a tiny area and I feel like it makes such a great finish. I prefer to double up on my hand sewing thread just for extra security, and my favorite way to make a knot to start my hand sewing is to hold my needle with the tip pointing up and the eye of the needle toward my hand. I then take the two ends of my thread, lay it perpendicular to the needle, securing it with my right hand finger just to make sure that it's not slipping anywhere. I then take the thread and wrap it around the tip of the needle 3 times, use my finger and thumb to grab onto those loops, pull it all the way down past the eye of the needle to the end, and that creates a really nice, easy knot. Because I'm right-handed, I find it easiest to hand sew from right to left. So I want to put my needle onto the right end of where I'm sewing from the inside so the knot is going to be inside with your stitches. Poke it out through really right at the end of where your last stitch line ended. So the way to get a really nice invisible ladder stitch is to poke your needle into the fabric on one side. You're going to go along and pull out again very close. I would say we're talking like 1/8 of an inch away. Pull it out, and then on the opposite side you're going to poke into the fabric again. Just take a little bite of that fabric, about 1/8 of an inch, and come back. And you're going to do this back and forth until you've completely closed it up. Once I get to the end, I'm going to then pull the needle out through the outside of the fabric. My favorite way to create a knot here is to put your needle in very close to where your needle just came out, to scoop up a little bit of fabric and create a loop. You're then going to take your needle and wrap it around the loop a couple of times and then pull everything nice and tight, and that's going to create a knot. I will then put my thread back into the fabric a little bit further away and out again, just to get rid of any tail there and trim it down. And here you can see how beautifully aligned everything is. You cannot see those stitches at all. And now I'm going to share some top tips of how to get closer to making your new favorite scrunchie. Your choice of fabric is of course going to have an effect on your finished scrunchie, how it looks, how it gathers. I have made scrunchies with so many different types of fabrics, and I feel like there's not really too much you cannot use to make a scrunchie. I tend to use fabric scraps from whatever projects I've been making. I've got this one that was made in a cotton poplin. I've got this one that's made in a cotton corduroy. I've got this one that's made in 100% linen. These two that were made in viscose linen. I've also made a lot of scrunchies in jersey fabrics. So this is a bamboo jersey, this is a cotton jersey, this is a cotton rib knit fabric, and this is a quilted cotton, which behaves very much like a cotton sweatshirting. I do also love a velvet scrunchie. This is a couple of polyester velvet scrunchies that I love. I've also heard that satin and silk is supposed to be particularly good for scrunchies if you have curlier hair. I have quite fine hair, and I find that if I use a slippery fabric to make a scrunchie, it tends to slip out a bit more. The more critical detail is how your fabric looks. I have found that if I make scrunchies with very colorful fabrics, multicolored fabrics with really busy prints, I tend to not wear those ones as much. I think it's quite hard to find outfits that are going to match and coordinate really well with a very colorful scrunchie. I find that plains definitely go a lot further, and I wear them a lot more often. So I have got a variety of scrunchies, as you can see, variety of colors, and these are generally all colors that are coordinating well in my wardrobe, which is why I know that these are going to get a lot of wear. Of course, it is fun to make a scrunchie with a patterned fabric, especially if you can coordinate it with the outfit that you've made. That is one of the joys of sewing, and I do love doing that, but I do also know that the ones that are going to get worn the most are the ones that tend to be a little bit more plain. Now, I do like some texture in my solids, both in the clothes that I'm wearing, but also in my scrunchies. So I do love the texture of a linen fabric. I love this quilted one just because it's got a little bit more interest there, the rib knit, the corduroy. So just because you're working with solids doesn't mean it has to be boring, but I will say, you know, you might feel differently. We all have to find what works in our wardrobe, but for me, going for solids, going for plain fabrics definitely works better. And a little bonus tip, if anybody is looking for a good way to store your scrunchies, this is my nail polish remover. They sit on there really nicely, and then they can just hide out in the bathroom for when I need them. And I know I've said this before, but I think it is such a crucial step. You want to make sure that you try the scrunchie on once you've put the elastic through before you do your final step to close the hole. It's such a pain to find a scrunchie is not the right length and undo and have to redo all that hand stitching. Save yourself the hassle, try it on before you close that hole up. But my biggest tip, honestly, is to just experiment, have fun with it. We're talking about scrunchies. What's the worst thing that can happen? You end up with a scrunchie that you're not wearing, that you're not using, that you can quite likely give to a friend or family member who would happily take it. You are going to find the fabrics that work best for you. You are going to find the thickness to get the right amount of bulk in there, the length that you prefer to make it more or less gathered. The great thing about sewing is that we have the opportunity to play around, use up your scraps, see what you prefer. If you have any tips that I haven't mentioned, please do put them down in the comments for everybody else to read. I would love to hear if I gave you any tips or suggestions that you haven't tried that you might want to try in the future, or if my process was maybe a little bit different of the scrunchie making process you've followed in the past. If you did enjoy the video, I do always appreciate a thumbs up, a like. It really helps bring other people to the video that also might enjoy it. If you did enjoy my video and you want to see more, make sure you are subscribed to my channel, and I'll see you guys very soon. Bye!